I'm Chad Ruthermond.
And I'm Andy Kinnick.
And welcome to NOCLIP Pocket, because NOCLIP boy color didn't really roll off the tongue. Today, we're going to be talking about Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins, which was released in 1992 on the Game Boy. Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins is a really weird fucking game.
Yeah.
As like a Game Boy Mario game, and not the first one, obviously, because of the original Super Mario Land.
Which was also weird.
It was weird, but I feel like this one really amps it up in a way that I didn't expect. Like, old platformers, generally speaking, are pretty abstract, we'll say.
Sure.
But because there's so many platformers, it was like one of the earliest genres of game, period. Mm-hmm. You had a lot of variants, like some things followed theme a lot better than others, and other ones were a little bit more wacky. And I feel like Mario's always kind of been on the more unusual side, and we're just kind of used to it because it's Mario.
Yeah.
This game, like, the thing that sticks out to me more than anything else is the enemy types and variety.
Yeah, everything in this game feels very different than the mainline Mario series, as I'll call it, I guess.
Right.
It kind of fits in with Link's Awakening, where I don't know if this is a thing they did because of technical limitations, or if they were just we'll use the Game Boy to experiment or whatever. But Link's Awakening is very different than the other Zeldas at the time, and the Mario Land games are very different than the Mario games at the time. And for the exception of the Koopas and Goombas, there aren't any other enemies that... Maybe the fish, too, whatever. I can't remember.
Yeah, the Cheep Cheeps.
The Cheep Cheeps, yeah. But that's about it. Mostly original enemy designs in this.
There's also, and I don't know when these things debuted, but there's the dry bones version of a fish, the wet bones.
Probably.
Something like that. That exists in this game, but they do the same thing as a spike would. You can't attack them or anything; they just are in constant hitbox. But yeah, while there's at least a Goomba in every level, there are only 10 Koopas in the whole game for whatever reason.
There aren't very many.
But yeah, everything else is somewhere. The Pumpkin Land really stands out to me as being one of the more bizarre because
one of the first enemies that attacks you is an umbrella.
Yeah, it's an umbrella that now keep in mind these things move around and shit, and I didn't pull up a screenshot of them, but to me they read as an umbrella with just a fist hanging from the bottom that's holding a purse or something.
I thought it was a foot.
It could be a giant foot.
They jump up and then they float down, they open up.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be a fist, who knows? They punch the ground, and then it pogos them up in the air.
That's where they got the idea for the ground pound in Mario 64.
Yeah.
And then there's also one that's just a hockey mask with a knife in it on feet. And it kind of
skulls?
They are not skulls.
I think they're supposed to be skulls.
I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be a Jason Voorhees hockey mask.
Maybe. I always thought it was a skull with a dagger in it.
The fact this came out in 92 kind of ruins this theory, but I like to imagine that they just Googled Halloween iconography. Jason came up.
And they're like, okay, that looks good.
And of course Boos come back for that level as well, and they operate in the way that Boos did in Super Mario World, and I don't know if Boos worked like this before, where with the look at them thing.
I think they debuted in Mario World.
Well, they were here.
They weren't in the original. Oh, yeah, this came out before Mario World.
Yeah, by about 4 years, I think.
Okay, so maybe they were new in this.
Yeah, this might be... This is the introductory point for... Wario as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if some things made it. Shy Guys persisted after Super Mario Brothers too, so...
Yeah.
Mario not ashamed of its history, that's for sure.
No, definitely not. But speaking of Wario, it being the debut of Wario, he doesn't really get an introduction
No,
at
not
all.
really.
Like I, for some reason, I felt like this had an introductory cutscene that introduced Wario, but it doesn't at all. You don't see him till the very end of the game.
Do you actually? We see him on the box art, and you
Well,
go,
that too.
"Who's that weird guy who looks a little bit like Mario, but is more goblin-like?"
Yeah, he's definitely more of like a creature in this, in like Mario clothes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't understand. I mean, I don't know. If you go back, we very recently on the main podcast did an episode on WarioWare, and we talk a little bit about Wario's design and the fact that, like, you know, the classic Wario design that most people are familiar with is the, like, Wario in a yellow shirt with overalls, and then they kind of, like, Nintendo has really embraced the WarioWare design where he's like a biker, but, like, they never embrace the weird goblin design that exists in this game. And I don't even know when, like, the second point of contact with Wario was. Because I have to imagine it wasn't for a while.
It's probably because he's not in Mario World or Mario RPG.
Right, or Mario 3 for that matter.
Or Mario 3. So it's probably, like, Super Mario Kart 64.
Yeah,
or Mario Party.
Was he in Super Mario Kart? Do you know?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But either way, it at least was a while between when we got Wario again, and that by that point he was the yellow version of himself.
Yeah, he was basically like the way Waluigi is now, where he only appeared in spin-offs.
Yeah, up until whenever he started getting his own games, because he never really shows back up in mainline Mario games.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of a missed opportunity. I feel like, you know, give Bowser a break every once in a while. Throw in Wario or something different.
Yeah, Super Mario Land 2 doesn't have Bowser, doesn't have
Peach.
Though it is kind of weird, I guess, that the Koopas are there at all. Like, I guess they're also malicious just on their own, like, even without Bowser.
Bowser was gone, and Wario just stepped in and took over command.
Bowser's on vacation. Wario was the Secretary of the Treasury in Koopa Land, and then etc., etc. The golden coins. There's some connection there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we did talk about in Super Mario RPG. What's his name? Boomer?
I want to say Booster.
Booster? His cat. Yeah, that dude looked like Wario.
Yeah, I feel like, and this might even exist in the game. I've actually not looked this up, but I don't think so. But I feel like he looks so much like Wario that there should have been like an Easter egg where you can find a secret room where it's like a closet that has like the Wario outfit like hung up in it to imply that like Booster is just Wario.
Yeah, I think that's the true canon anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's what the way it is up in my head.
Mm-hmm. Up in the old nog.
Yeah.
Speaking of like secret rooms and shit, one thing I wanted to note that was actually about game design, not just about like Nintendo's treatment of this weird game.
Right.
This game, like a lot of Mario games, this does have like secrets and things to be found. But I feel like there's so much more ballsy in this game because of the way the power-ups work. Because there are a lot of secrets and things that are just kind of like pretty plainly obvious, but you just have to have a power-up to get to them. And I kind of like that because it allows you to... It's like a very light Metroidvania type thing where you kind of look at it and you go, oh, if I come back here with a fire flower, I can get what's behind that wall.
Right.
The downside, of course, being that you know it's just going to be like some coins or shit. But...
Right. Yeah, as weird as this game can get in its aesthetic choices, the gameplay actually feels like a pretty like streamlined version of Mario. And I think that's kind of what leads to those more pure secrets. And also, I think there's like limitations that like lead them to doing like less telegraphing with stuff. Like this game doesn't really hold your hand. It doesn't have an intro sequence. It just kind of drops you in, and you just kind of have to like figure things out. Like another one tells you have to go to the hippo and jump in the bubble and fly across the top of the whole level to get to the star land or anything. You know, you just have to figure that stuff out.
Right. I'm trying to... Okay, so this game came out... okay, I guess to lead more directly off of what you were saying, there's another thing in that this game is non-linear in as much as you don't have to go to the worlds in a particular order.
Yeah, it's just like a circular world map, and you can go to whichever one you want.
Right. Which there are a lot of them that appear interesting as well. So like there's no shortage of like visual intrigue.
Right.
But the fact that this is non-linear, I think, also kind of aids in that it doesn't have to hold your hand, because it also has to make the levels... Yeah. It has to make the levels simple enough that any of them can be your first level, and you still have a reasonable chance of getting through it. Mm-hmm. And some levels are really short, and other ones are a little bit more challenging, but for the most part, it has kind of a flat difficulty curve up until you get to the end, where it, like, inverts it 90 degrees and becomes a huge spike and is really, really hard. Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't even be that bad, except for there's one specific part where there's these moving platforms that are, like, just big enough for Mario to stand on. And there's one where, like, it goes completely under the platform, so you have to, like, time when you walk off of it for when it's going back. And I've probably died to that more times than, like, anything else in the game.
In the entire game?
Because, like, I got it down to, like, where I can count out. Like, I know how long it rests and when to start moving.
Right.
And that's where I have my highest success rate. It's, like, 3 seconds. But even then, I still fuck it up sometimes. Because it's, like, you know, it's like a Game Boy game.
Yeah, regular
Game Boy Color
game.
So, like, the frame rate's got to be, like, 20 frames per second or whatever. So you can fuck it up with those more, like, precise jumps you have to make in that final level.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier this feels like kind of a streamlined Mario game. I think the previous Mario games, but, like, prior to this one, were, you know, Mario Brothers, if you want to even count that. So Super Mario Brothers, Mario Brothers 2, and Mario Brothers 3. Meaning this is the second game in the Mario series that had like a flight-based power-up, but I kind of want to talk about that in a minute. This game does suffer from the fact that it is on a Game Boy. Like it's not as precise as it could be, and I can't really fault it for that because of the hardware.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes you'll just like anytime that you make contact with an enemy and damage it at the same time, like, you'll still take damage, and I feel like that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So, like, diagonals are super unsafe.
Yeah, like, there were times where, like, I, like, jumped on a Koopa shell and, like, went to walk into it to kick it like you would in a Mario game and hit it at a diagonal, and it hurts you.
Yeah, just, like, take damage. You're like,
oh, that's not good. How did that make it past playtesting?
Exactly. Well, they probably just couldn't fix it, is the thing.
Maybe.
So, it does lack a little bit of precision, which makes this game a little bit unfun at times, but
yeah,
for the most part, I agree, it is pretty streamlined as far as the platforming goes. Mm-hmm. There's some unusual choices, like, there's that level where, like, everything you walk on is, like, a ball.
Oh, yeah, in the Mario Zone?
Yeah.
Let's specifically sidebar here and talk about Mario Zone. Okay, so all the other levels feel pretty unique for Mario, but they're still, like, fairly standard video game levels. There's, like, a tree zone, one that's, like, an underwater zone. Mm-hmm. There's a space zone, a Halloween zone.
Halloween zone feels a little bit weird and something that isn't specifically Halloween-themed, but I love it. So
and there's, like, a house one where you shrink down and, you know.
Like in Mario Brothers 3 or 64, you know.
But then you have Mario Zone, which consists of, like, a giant mechanical, like, nutcracker Mario tower that you go up through, and it's just, like, somehow Mario themed. Like, the inside of it feels more like either, like, mechanical or toy-like. Mm-hmm. It's bizarre.
Even some of the, like, enemies are, like, toy soldiers.
Yeah.
Like, pretty specifically.
But only some of them.
Yeah, and the other times they're just pigs that shoot cannonballs out of their mouths.
Right.
Who's the boss of Mario Zone? Is that the mouse or
it's
is that
the 3 pigs?
It's the pigs one. which makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, no, it's just like, it's like based on the Three Little Pigs fairy tale.
Right.
There's just like 3 little houses up at the top of the screen.
Yeah,
with
that are
pigs
made
in
of
them.
straw, wood, and brick.
Yeah, and they jump down one at a time and they bounce around. But, yeah.
But it has nothing to do with Mario or mechs
or toys.
any of that.
Nope.
Like, even, like, bird boss, tree level. Witch boss, Halloween level. Pig boss, Mario
level.
robot. Yeah, like, it doesn't... I don't... It's so strange. And, like, you know, somebody just had, like, a wild hair up their ass one day and was like, what if we just do, like, a big Mario?
Yeah. I could see that being a thing that, like, Miyamoto would do. Like, he'd come in and he'd, like, draw a Nutcracker Mario and be like, put this in the game somehow.
And then just walk out.
And then leave. Yeah. They're like, well, Miyamoto said so.
Might as well do it. It's really weird, like, how inconsistent it is, too, because, like, the first level is, there's, like, gears and shit, and you gotta, like, jump around. That's where it feels very mechanical. And the second level is, like, I think actually a digestive system is what they're going for. Because it's in his stomach and there's bubbles everywhere.
Maybe?
I mean, I'm not like 100% on that,
Yeah.
but like the bubbles don't make sense at all.
No.
That's the only way I can contextualize it to make it work.
Sure.
And then the boss is the 3 pigs, and I
Yeah,
think
and
there's some more bubbles there. I
The
don't
third
know.
level has, like, the Lego bricks.
Oh, right, yeah. I forgot about the Lego bricks. Which is even like,
Yeah,
because
so-
that really drives the toy thing
Yeah,
home.
so it goes from, like, mechanical to bubbles to Legos. You know.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
You know,
you know the pattern.
Yeah, like the human body, the leg bone's connected to the Legos.
Yes. But while we're on the subject of visuals, this game actually looks really great for a Game Boy game.
I agree.
Like, and I think it's sometimes to its detriment because there are some spots in this game where the frame rate chugs.
Yeah, it drops from a smooth 20 to about a less smooth, like, 11.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate, but I think probably worth it overall because, like, the game does look really nice. Like, even today, like, it's still, like, pleasant to look at.
When it's not being aggressively
Yeah.
unpleasant.
Mm-hmm.
The frame rate realistically only drops, like, significantly in very particular areas, or, like, any time that you get hit.
Yeah, when there's more, like, detailed sprites
Mm-hmm.
on screen, it tends to slow down.
Yeah, I was gonna note on that. There are a few levels that have like death water, like not swim water, like water that
will
hurts
kill
you.
you.
Yeah, and they like animate it in this like bubbling sort of like black sludge tar.
They make it
way.
kind of look sharp.
Yeah,
Like it would, yeah.
and it's actually really good. Like I think it looks really good, especially given the fact that it's all sprite work. Like it's pixel art. It's really well done. I mean, I guess it is Nintendo, but it is also a Game Boy.
Yeah,
game.
given that Mario Land, the original, looks like ass.
Yeah, I love in Mario Land, which is not the podcast about Mario Land, but Mario himself is like 4 pixels
I know,
high.
yeah, it's like so simplistic in its
yeah.
visuals.
I don't know how they. I mean, what 90? I don't know when the original Game Boy came out. I feel like it was like 90, maybe 89.
I feel like it was in the 80s, the very
Okay.
late 80s.
So I guess they'd had a few years to kind of hash out how the Game Boy worked, but yeah, the difference between the first and second entries in the series
It's
are
huge.
Yeah, it doesn't even feel the same.
No, not even close.
Yeah.
And also the music in the game it really stands out. Especially like having played this a lot as a kid, the music is one of the things that's always stuck in my mind the most. I don't really know how else to like really talk about the music, but like the music is thumbs up.
Yeah, no, the music's very good. The one thing that I always noted about it is that like while this game isn't like super popular, it's probably the most popular of the like the non-main series Mario games. But it isn't very popular, but the people who are like aware of it and played it when they were kids have like a certain adulation for the music.
Yeah.
Where it feels like almost like an indie band where like people will be like, oh, you know, like sure, like Mario 64 had a cool soundtrack, but like The Mario Land 2 soundtrack is
that's what it's
fucking
at.
bumping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every song on it's memorable.
For sure. For better or worse, there's some
Yeah.
that are a little bit like weird.
And they're all
crazy.
original tracks as well. There's none of the like standby Mario tunes in there.
Yeah, you won't hear the standard like Mario theme at any point.
Mm-hmm.
Like they will in every other Mario game, pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like piece together a way to sort of like talk about anything else. But
I feel like we'd have to go into more specifics than we want to talk about anything else.
I know that specifically Mario's run animation is very funny to me in this game because of how few frames it is.
Mm-hmm.
So he looks incredibly frantic when you're like sprinting.
Yeah, it's like classic, like old school Mario. Like kind of like the Mario 3 run cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think it's 3 frames maybe.
Yeah. It's like 1 foot down, 1 foot up, and then mirrored.
Yeah.
They just repeat
It's like
that.
the feet out, and then the opposite, and then the middle.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It gives a little bit of a chugging nature.
Yeah, it's like in Mario World where you get him sprinting and he goes like up on his tiptoes.
Right, yeah.
It almost has that kind of feel where, because like it's like this sprite is kind of tall,
Mm-hmm.
but then like his legs are almost like non-existent, and he's just like his feet, and they're just kind of like really tiny, like fluttering along, and he's just kind of like gracefully skating across the Mushroom Kingdom or wherever he is in this game.
Yeah, actually, it's not totally
It's like an
clear.
island because
Yeah.
there's like you can see the ocean around it.
If you go-
Wario Island.
we'll call it that. Maybe it is Mario Land, and Mario's just
No,
taking over.
that's probably what it is.
Who knows? On the note of Mario being graceful, the opposite of graceful is the way that the like bunny ears flight power up works in this game, which took me like probably years to realize like what the aesthetic was too, because
Same
he's picking
here.
up a carrot and he's becoming a rabbit,
Yep.
and the rabbit can fly.
Yeah, same thing. As a kid, I always just thought they were wings,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't even think about the fact that it was a carrot.
Right.
You know, because you're a child.
Well, because the thing
And
that-
on the picture, like on the illustration on the front,
Yeah.
they're clearly rabbit ears.
Mhm.
But you know, you just don't put 2 and 2 together.
Of course. Well, especially when it's not even 2 and 2 to get 4, right? Like you have to, it's 2 and 2, and then there's a red herring. It's like an N and
A red
X.
hair.
A red, yes, hair.
Ing.
Because the actual mechanical act of picking up the carrot, giving you the ability to fly, makes you not at all think of rabbits. Like
No.
rabbits and flight don't mix, as far as I'm aware. There's like some like the African flying rabbit or something that I've just like forgotten about. But yeah, so Mario is super not graceful in this one instance because like I like to compare it to the previous games and like if you the iconic like yellow background raccoon suit Mario in Super Mario Brothers 3. When Mario flies as Raccoon Mario, he does this like he like puts his arms back like he's a flying squirrel or something to like hover with the tail.
Isn't that just Mario World that has that?
Well, Mario World has
Is
the
the
cape.
cape. Yeah, the Tanuki tail works a lot like the...
Oh, where he's
bunny
just
ears.
in whatever frame he was in before.
Yeah, and the tail flaps.
And he just flutters
kinda
down.
hovers, yeah.
Okay. So it's as ungraceful as it is in Mario Brothers 3.
It's better in Mario Brothers 3, and this one it's more stiff.
Yeah. It feels really awkward sometimes as well, to the point where most of the time I would just prefer to have a different power-up.
Yeah, in this one, it's like... It's way too, like, gradual of a drop.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I don't know. There's something about it that just doesn't feel as good as you want it to.
Right. Which has two side effects, which are one, that, and two, the fact that it makes it a lot kind of easier in this game to bypass whole sections or sometimes entire levels by having the rabbit ears.
Mm-hmm.
Where that wouldn't have been the case in a lot of other games.
Yeah, it ends up making the Fire Flower just, like, completely OP in this game. Like, it's the only power-up you ever want to have.
Yeah. This game uniquely has, like, a kill counter in the bottom right-hand
yeah,
corner.
yeah.
And I think it's whenever you get to 50 or maybe it's 100 animal murders, you get a star. Like, it'll just, like, pop out of, like, a box or whatever. And that is weird. Like, it doesn't make a big difference. Like, I know it's used strategically in, like, speedruns, but there's no way for you to, like... Well, there's some way, but nobody is ever going to casually be like, oh, I should go kill 40 enemies so that when I get to the boss, I can grab a quick star or something.
Yeah.
I don't even know if stars work on bosses in this game. But, yeah, it's just real strange the way that this game, like, deviates from the path on Mario games. The little mini games at the end, I think, are very cool, and is kind of reused in Mario World as well.
It feels a little weird, because it's just the same thing. At the end of each level, there's just some kind of, like, platforming staircase to get up to ring a bell that allows you to play the game.
Right.
And there's only maybe, like, 3 instances where it's, like, difficult to figure out how to get to it.
Right. Or even that, if for that matter, difficult to execute.
Yeah.
There's, like, maybe a couple that actually aren't super easy.
Yeah. But, I mean, then again, like, in Mario Brothers 3, there was just, like...
A random
thing that you jumped up and hit. So, I mean... I feel like Nintendo now would be more creative with that, but back then weren't really concerned with such things.
Yeah. It is reminiscent of the flagpole in the original, where most of levels just had, like, a staircase at the end of them that you climbed up and jumped over to the flagpole on. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so the fact that this one gives you a reward, it makes it feel like it should be more
right.
of a
you didn't go for a
challenge.
high score in Super Mario Brothers? Yep, and then there's a lottery where you can do,
weirdly,
like a slot machine.
Yeah, there's like a starting level that's like a little mushroom hut on the bottom of the map that you have to do, and then you can never go back to it.
Right.
And then right outside of it, there's like a hill, like a I don't know, like
the loaf of bread.
Yeah, you called it a loaf of bread. It's like a mound of some kind or whatever. You go in, there's like a lottery machine, or you can wager your coins to potentially get extra lives in like a lottery system.
Yeah. I remember when I was very young going through and actually getting 999 coins to use the 999 pipe.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember, I think like you could get 50 lives or something.
Yeah, it's probably, there's like less chance of not getting something good for that much. But yeah, and the reason that's there is because if you run out of lives in this game, you just have to start all over, because you collect the goal of the game. The subtitle of the game is the 6 golden coins. You have to beat all 6 worlds to get their coin, which will open the door to Wario's castle. And if you get a game over, you lose all your coins, so you have to go redo the levels if you lose. So the game's not that hard. I remember it being way harder as a kid, of course.
Right.
But it's pretty easy, though, actually, playing it now. But that last level, you're going to need them.
You're going to need an ass load of lives.
Yeah.
That is
because,
for sure.
like, the whole game is... It's more, like, enemy-focused, really. There's less, like, difficult platforming. And then when you get to the final level, they're like, nope, none of that. No enemies at all. Only difficult platforming.
Yeah. And they even have, like... God, that level's so fucking weird. Because, like, every new thing that's introduced is, like, somehow crazier and stranger than the previous one. Like, they start out with these, like, black balls with, like, spikes on them that are just, like, platform, like, jump over it or go through it. And then you get to, like, you get the huge piranha plants.
Yeah.
You get regular piranha plants that fire regular fireballs.
Yeah, they're like piranha plant statues that fire, like, super, like, laser fireballs or something.
It's just so wacky and weird. That last level is a doozy, for sure.
Yeah, and you have to make it all the way. There's no checkpoint in it either, so you have to get all the way to Wario, who has 3 phases, where he uses the power-ups against you.
Right.
And you had to do it all in one go. Which can be pretty difficult.
Yeah. So prepare to play that slot machine.
Yeah. Again and again. And again and again.
Well, that's what I have to say about Super Mario Land 2. 6 golden coins.
Samesies.
I feel like in the end, like after replaying it just now, like I do actually recommend people play this game if you are a like regular ass Mario fan who likes regular ass Mario games, because that is what this is. But it just has that like little aesthetic flourishes to make it its own unique thing.
Yeah, or if you're just like nostalgic to the Game Boy and have never played this, you might enjoy picking it up. But yeah, just know going in that it is a bit weird and a bit short.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you go in with reasonable expectations, I think you could totally enjoy playing it now.
Also, the Game Boy Color, like, remapping of the colors in the game that it just does when you put a regular Game Boy cartridge in makes this game have a very, like, strange color palette.
Yeah, it's like blue and yellow or something weird.
And, like, there's, like, in the whale level where you go inside of a whale, for some reason, like, they're just, like, I don't know what it's supposed to be, like, maybe fat chunks that you can float in.
Float through.
But they're like brown and orange. It just gives them this like really gross feel
yeah,
to
it's
them.
like, I don't know what they're going for here.
Yeah.
It's cholesterol.
The whale cholesterol.
Yes.
That you have to jump on.
Of course.
Yeah. So, yeah, be prepared for whale cholesterol. Thank you for listening to NOCLIP Pocket.
What are we talking about next time?
Next time, we're already bucking the original idea for this. So instead of only handheld games, we're just going to do only handheld games and also other games that are just short and simple to play.
Pocket size.
Next time, we're going to be talking about Home, which is a short PC game where that is like a decision-based adventure horror mystery game. So thanks for listening. Until that time, you can get a hold of us. All of our contact information is on our website, noclippodcast.com. Let us know how you liked this. If you have suggestions or games that you would like to hear us talk about, we're going to be on the lookout for that kind of a thing. I want to thank Janelle Vickers for taking over as social media manager on our Twitter, making us actually use it. So at NOCLIP Podcast, go ahead and follow that one. Listen to all of our episodes. Give us gold stars. 6 golden stars.
Yes.
And subscribe on YouTube and ring the notification bell to play the mini game where you see all of our uploads. I got nothing else.
All right. Yep. Tell all your friends.
Goodbye.
Are we gonna do that?
I mean, I assume
We would
so.
have to. Sure. All right. Just take 2.
All right.